This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy. I'm going to review the website, thepropertytaxguy.com. And, uh, again, my name is Mike Franklin. My business is Franklin Rutan, unique property specialist. And I am a property owner advocate specializing in property tax matters. I have approximately 20 years experience of what unique properties list for, sell for, assess for, and appraise for. And so I have excellent valuation skills. I have participated in property tax matters in 15 counties so far as of March 2022. I have dealt with dozens of assessors, so I have a very good idea as to how they operate. And I have a lot of experience with dealing with Board of Assessment reviews and how they operate, and with the Small Claims Assessment Review, and even, and if necessary, State Supreme Court. I deal in both residential and commercial property tax matters. Um, when it comes to residential properties, the process is, review the matter with the assessor, see if you can reason with the assessor, perhaps point some things out to the assessor that they're not aware of, perhaps as far as inventory or any, situations where, they may agree and make an adjustment without having to go through all the various appeal options. If that doesn't work, then we file with a Board of Assessment review. That's an RP 524, a state form, and there's no cost to go before the Board of Assessment review. The Board of Assessment review is a town level or city level panel of local people with various levels of expertise when it comes to valuation. They can vary quite greatly as to their level of expertise, but it is a local level appeal. There is no cost associated, and there's and you can file that RP 524 and make your case before that panel and see how it goes. Oftentimes, my experience is that people will get a form back and they'll check a box that says insufficient information, even when sometimes people have provided volumes of information. It routinely happens, and it's very upsetting to people. It's a lack of transparency and accountability, but that's what happens. And so if you it doesn't cost anything to do it. It just takes time. If you don't get anywhere with that, then you can file an RPTL 730A and an appeal to the Small Claims Assessment Review, which is a state level hearing officer who is not part of the local township potentially politics that the Board of Assessment Review may have, and so you're more likely to have a more objective hearing there. Oftentimes, that the Board of Assessment Review may have they work hand in hand with the assessor, and sometimes they're quite independent of the assessor, and sometimes they're not. Um, I've been to Board of Assessment Review hearings where the assessor is whispering in the ear of the chairperson. And, to me, it's supposed to be a separate level of appeal, and I don't think that that's appropriate, but that's what happens sometimes. But on other times, they are completely independent, and you can get a fair hearing. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So you just have to see. And I have a lot of experience with various Board of Assessment reviews, so I have an idea ahead of time what it is that you can expect. But in any case, if it doesn't work out at the bar, you can appeal to SCAR. It costs $30. You have to also file that 730A with the county clerk. It has to be certified, or you have to get a receipt, and you have to get the index number, and you have to also um, get certified a copy to the town clerk. And you can go by regular mail with a copy of the petition to the school district secretary, to the county treasurer, and to the assessor, the town assessor, city assessor. And so there's, you have to file, and you have to make certain that you serve those properly, or the assessor will attempt to get the case dismissed. And you have to do it in a timely manner. From the time you get notice from the Board of Assessment Review, you have 30 days to file that appeal with the Board of Assessment Review. You could, when you go to the Small Claims Assessment Review, your appeal options are very limited. You cannot question the opinion of value from a Small Claims Assessment Review hearing officer. You can only appeal if they've made technical errors in the law. And so if you want to have full appeal options, you'd want to take it to state Supreme Court. Obviously, the filing fees are more, and there's a lot of protocol, so you'd likely have to hire an attorney, which of course costs money. You can do it pro se, but your chances will be smaller because there is a lot of procedural things that can trip you up if you do take that route. But you would have full appeal options. But for normal properties, it doesn't make economic sense to take this to the state Supreme Court, and you just have to go with the Small Claims Assessment Review hearing officer for $30. So that's how it works with residential. With commercial, you have fewer appeal options. You can talk to the assessor, try to reason with them, but they have very little reason to negotiate with you because they know your only option would be go to Board of Assessment Review. And if you don't get anywhere with the Board of Assessment Review, if the Board of Assessment Review is in tight with the assessor, you're not likely to go anywhere with that. And if that's the case, you can't go before a state hearing officer. You'd have to take it to state Supreme Court, which there's the filing fees, and more than likely you have to have an attorney. If your business is under a corporation, you can't do it pro se. You'd have to hire an attorney. But if it's individually owned business, you can file pro se. But you have less appeal options. But if you're doing a commercial appeal, you're more than likely going to need an appraisal, and you're going to need an attorney more than likely. And if you file, if you do file in Supreme Court, the good news is that juncture, it's more than likely the decision will no longer be in the assessor's hands. It will be in the town attorney and the town supervisors. It'll be their decision, and sometimes merely filing will, bring them to the table. Because prior to that, there's no reason for them to negotiate with you because they don't think most people are going to go that far. But anyway, anybody who has any questions, I will be happy to answer questions at no cost. You can call me anytime, 315-876-2262. And I'll answer any questions. I'll walk you through all the forms, whatever you want, at no cost. I will help you establish whether or not you have a case. One of the first things that we need to establish is a lot of people mistake high taxes with high assessment. We need to establish whether or not you are in fact overassessed before, we waste everybody's time on this thing. The first question I'm going to ask you is, can you sell it for the assessed value? If you can, then then you likely do not have an excessive argument. There's two ways to argue this. One is the assessment excessive? Can you sell the property for what it's assessed for? If you can't, you may have an argument. If you can, you don't have an excessive argument. You could have an unequal argument. And unequal would be when there's other properties that are as good or better than yours that are assessed for less. And if you can establish a pattern that that is the case, then you may have an unequal argument. When it comes to residential, the valuation methods are different than commercial. Commercial, sometimes it can be a income valuation. It depends on the classification of the property. Whether it's a medical building or a restaurant, the assessor will use different methodology to value it, and you have to deal with that accordingly. But more than likely, you'll have to have an appraisal. You'll have to have appraisal for the Board of Assessment Review, and usually the appraisers will charge a certain amount of money for that. If it has to be court ready for Supreme Court, it's usually double, and you can do that incrementally. But more than likely, you're gonna need to pay an appraiser. And if I get involved in whether it's residential or commercial, if you want me to actually handle the case for you, I provide individual proposals based on the circumstances. I look at the case. I look to see whether or not you have a case. I don't get involved in cases, where I'm not right. But I'll for at no cost, I'll establish whether or not you have a case and the probability of success. And if I think that we're going to win, then I'll be willing to take the case on. If I don't think we're going to win, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. I'll be very transparent as to exactly why it is that I think you do not have a case. I'll demonstrate it to you with facts and figures, not just it's so because I said so, but I will show you, and then you can make your determination. If you want to proceed yourself, I'd be happy to give you any information I can. I'm an advocate for equity in these matters, and it's important, and so I'm willing to answer any questions at no cost. Just call me and I'll tell you what it is that I know. You want me to handle a case, I'll have to give you a proposal. It's simple as that. But whether it's residential or commercial, I can handle either one of them for you. And I'll tell you exactly what it is that you can expect. And I can't necessarily dictate what the outcome will be, but I have enough experience to anticipate. I'll know what it is to expect. Sometimes with hearing officers or Board of Assessment Reviews, it's a luck of the draw as to who you get as a hearing officer. The hearing officer can be an attorney, a former assessor, an appraiser, a real estate broker, any one of those, and who you get, you could have the very same set of circumstances. I had a case last year in the town of Manlius, and secured $165,000 reduction. I had the very same situation in Binghamton, and the hearing officer was an attorney. Apparently, was in family law. Didn't seem to have any experience whatsoever when it came to valuation, and she gave us nothing. And so, it was just hard to fathom, what it is that she was thinking, but that's the way it goes, and you cannot challenge the opinion of value of a hearing officer, and all you can do is try again the next year. And if you think you're going to get the same hearing officer the next year, you may want to consider bypassing SCAR and go to state Supreme Court if you feel that strongly about it, or you just suck it up and pay what it is that they're asking you to pay. I mean, that's all you can do. That's the way the process works. But anyway, that's how it works. Feel free to call me anytime. Again, this website, the Property Tax Guy, there's various tabs that there's a flow chart and it says how the process works. There's some representatives tab that describes my experience and the associates that I work with that also participate in this. I do property tax challenges in all of upstate New York, so it doesn't matter what the county is. The law is the same statewide. It's all the same process, and I can handle any county in the state. And as I've mentioned, I've participated in these cases in 15 counties so far. So I have a lot of experience. I've participated in some of these cases that I pretty much know what an assessor is going to say before they say it. I know I can't predict what the hearing officers will do, but I have a fairly good idea. If I've met them before, if I haven't met them before, then I don't know what to expect. But the whole idea is to document so that any reasonable person would conclude that you're correct. And I'm an expert at valuation and at doing the research and getting to the bottom as to what is equitable. I don't help people who are trying to get more than they deserve. I attempt to get them exactly what it is that they deserve, nothing more and nothing less. And I've been pretty successful in doing it. Assessors have a very difficult job. In some cases, they have thousands of properties that they have to value, and so mistakes are made, errors in inventory, or just mistakes happen, and if there's an outlier situation, then we try to resolve it. I'm actually trying to help the assessor get to what's right, and a lot of people call me and ask me for assistance. And I look at the situation, and and I ask them, "Can you sell this thing?" And they go, "For what it's assessed for." They'll go, "Yeah, sure, I think I can." I said, "Okay, all right. What about other properties? Are they any others that are as good or better that are assessed for less?" And then they'll say, "Well, geez, I don't know." Well, I'll take a look at it for them, and if there are, then maybe we'll have an argument, and maybe we won't. But if they haven't looked, then we probably don't have an argument. And so I save the assessor time by going through these people so that they know that they're barking up the wrong tree. And it's about getting whomever it is that I work for, I want them to be willing to pay their fair share. That's what this is about. It's about doing what's right for them and for all the rest of the taxpayers. People shouldn't want to have other people paying their taxes for them, I'm not here to, help people, beat the system. That's not what this is about. So anyway, this is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy, 315-876-2262, thepropertytaxguy.com. Thank you very much.